Hello everybody, myself Amit Chaudhary, your chemistry teacher. So today we are going to discuss the chapter Elements, Compounds and Mixture. So first of all we have to learn what is element. So element is a kind of pure substance which cannot be break into further anything simpler by any kind of physical or chemical method. That means you cannot break the element further into another simpler substance. Okay? So element is a pure substance. It has a unique property. For every individual element, it has its own unique property. The property of gold is not similar with the property of sodium. The property of sodium is not common with the property of hydrogen. So every element is a kind of pure substance that cannot be break further into the simpler one, and elements are the pure substance. Okay? Next is that, so now the question arises, what is the meaning of pure substance, isn't it? So elements and compounds, all these are pure substance. So first we have to learn, so element, it has a unique property. Every element, unique set of property, unique property. Each and individual element, it has its own unique property. And all the elements are pure substance. Okay? Now the question arises, what is the meaning of pure substance? So pure substance, it has some properties. So pure substance, first a definite composition. Next, a definite set of properties. Definite set of properties means, that means their boiling point, their melting point, their freezing point, it is constant one for a particular element. Okay? And for a particular pure substance also, because element belongs to the pure substance category, and all the pure substance are homogeneous in nature. So what are the characteristics of a pure substance? Having definite composition, having definite set of properties, and homogeneous in nature. Homogeneous in nature means their composition is same throughout the bulk. So all the elements, they belong to the pure substance category. Okay? And atoms, elements are made by atoms. So atoms, these are the basic or the fundamental unit of an element. You can say that element, that means atoms forms the element. For example, if you consider the element gold, so it is made by the gold atoms. If you think about the element iron, it is made by the iron atoms. So all these elements having a definite composition, definite set of properties, homogeneous in nature. Now let us consider that the compounds. Now compounds are made by the two or more elements in a definite fixed ratio. Two or more elements combined with each other. And how they combined? They combined in a fixed ratio by their mass. So compounds are formed by the elements. Two or more elements combined with each other in a fixed ratio by their mass, then they form the compounds. Now, the fixed ratio by their mass. What is the meaning of this one? Now, I am explaining this one, fixed ratio by their mass. I am giving you one example. Say the water. Water is an example of compound. Okay. So, the two elements are there. One element is hydrogen and another element is oxygen. So, you see that this compound water is formed by the combination of two different elements, hydrogen and oxygen. Now, these two elements are combined by their fixed ratio by their mass. That means hydrogen and oxygen, they combine with the fixed ratio of mass, that is 1:8. What is the meaning of this statement? That means 1 part of hydrogen combined with 8 part of oxygen to form the 1 molecule of water. Okay, so the compounds, 2 or more elements combine with each other in a fixed ratio by their mass and they form that particular compound. Another example, say carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. Which elements are there? Carbon is there and oxygen is there. So these two elements are combined with each other in a fixed ratio by their mass and they form the 1 molecule of carbon dioxide. Now these compounds, it also belongs to the pure substance category. That means all the elements and all the compounds, they belong to the pure substance category, having a definite composition, having a definite set of properties, and they are homogeneous in nature. So, and molecules, these are the basic unit to form a compound, and atoms, these are the basic unit to form an element. So, the basic unit to form a compound is molecule. Okay. So, molecule is the basic unit to form the compound, and atoms, these are the basic unit to form an element. Is this clear to all of you? I think so. Now, let us discuss the next part. I am rubbing all these things. Oh, another thing is that the mixture. Now, this mixture, they belong to the category of impure substance. So, you know what are the characteristics of pure substance? So, what are the characteristics of impure substance? Because all the mixture, they belong to the category of impure substance. Impure substances. Impure substances means all the mixtures. Now, what are the characteristics of impure substances? First of all, they do not have definite composition. They do not have definite composition. They do not have a definite set of properties. And third point, in case of pure substance, they are homogeneous in nature, but in case of impure substance, they may be homogeneous or they may be heterogeneous in nature. So these are the characteristics. So this is the first part of this today's discussion, that definition of element, compound, unit of element, unit of compound, and the properties of pure substance and properties of impure substance. Okay. Now let's move to the next part. I am rubbing all these things. Now this pure substance, categorically the two parts are there. First of all, I have already discussed that elements and compounds. These are the two categories of any pure substance. Now these elements, there are four types: metals, non-metals, metalloids, and noble gases or inert gases. And the compounds, the two category is there. First of all, the organic compound and the inorganic compound. Now the metals. 118 elements are there nowadays. Approximately 118 elements are there, and out of these 118 elements, 92 elements, these are the natural elements. Natural elements, because they found in the earth crust, and the rest of the 26 elements, these are artificial elements. That means these elements are prepared in the laboratory. You will learn later. And some of these 26 artificial elements, some of the elements are radioactive in nature. What is the radioactivity or what is the radioactive elements, you will learn afterwards, not now. So you just remember that 118 elements are there present there. Out of these 92 the natural elements and 26 artificial elements. Actually these are prepared in the laboratory. Now these elements, metal. Out of these 92 elements, most of the elements are metals. A very few non-metals, metalloids and the noble gases. That means the total number of non-metals, metalloids and noble gases, these are very less as compared to the total number of metals. Now these metals, most of the metals are solid. Say iron is a solid metal. Then if you say that gold is a solid metal, but the liquid non-metal is there also. For example, bromine. Bromine is the liquid non-metal. Okay. I'm sorry. Bromine is the liquid. Mercury is the liquid non-metal. Most of the metals are solid, like iron, then gold, etc. Whatever. And the liquid non-metal, example of liquid non-metal is mercury. Mercury is a liquid non-metal. Mercury is a liquid metal. Now come to the non-metals. Non-metals, solid non-metals are there, say carbon, sulfur, these are the solid non-metals. Hydrogen, oxygen, these are the gaseous non-metals. Bromine is the liquid non-metal. Okay. Next is the metalloids. Metalloids are these kinds of the pure substances or elements whose characteristics belongs to the in between the metals and the non-metals. Okay. So metalloids, that means these metalloids, these are the characteristics of the metalloids in between the metals and the non-metals. Arsenic, antimony, these are the kinds of the metalloids. And the noble gases. Noble gases, that means the inert gases, they do not react chemically with other elements. Helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, these are the examples of the noble gases. So these are the category of the elements: metals, non-metals, metalloids and the noble gases. You have to learn the examples of metal, non-metal, metalloids and the noble gases. Next is the compound. So the compound, these are also the pure substance having a definite set of properties, and whenever two or more pure substances, that means two or more elements combine with each other, they in a fixed ratio by their mass, then they form the compounds. Now the category of compounds: organic and inorganic. Organic compounds mean that actually comes from life. Organic compounds mean that comes from the life. Most of the compounds, these are organic in nature. Okay. And the inert, say the sugar, normal sugar. This is an example of organic compounds, or the glucose. These are the organic compounds. And another characteristics of organic compounds, all the organic compounds, one element is common, that is the carbon. And in case of inorganic, they are not comes from the life. They actually made in the laboratory also, and they are not related somehow with the life. Hydrochloric acid, carbon dioxide gas, ammonia, these are the examples of inorganic compounds. Okay, so you have to learn the definition of elements, compounds and the mixture, how many natural elements are there and how many artificial elements are there, characteristics of the pure substance, difference between the pure substance and impure substance, and the examples of metals, non-metals, metalloids, noble gases, and the examples of organic and inorganic substances. Okay, now we move to the next part, that is symbol. It is very, very important. Symbol. So what is symbol? Symbol is the way of representation of a single atom of an element. Is it clear to all of you? Let me explain. We are going to discuss now symbol. Symbol means it is the way to represent a single element by means of, this is the way of representation of an element, symbolic representation. Now some rules are there. The rules actually prescribed by IUPAC, International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, IUPAC, UPAC. This is actually accepted by all over the world. They formed some rules, basic rules, how to write the symbol of an element. Okay. First of all, how you can express the symbol of any element. First of all, how you can represent? By means of their English letter, alphabet. For example, hydrogen. Hydrogen, it starts with the letter H. So the symbol of hydrogen is H. Think about oxygen. It starts with the letter O. Now H, O, all these are capital letter. Okay. Say nitrogen. It starts with the letter N. So the symbol of nitrogen is represented by the letter N. Carbon. It is represented by the letter C. Boron starts with B. So the symbol of boron, that is represented by the letter capital B. Now the problem arises, say helium. Now this particular helium, this element also starts with H, but if you see the spelling of helium, then H, E, L, I, U, M. So H and then small letter E. So H, E, H and capital H, small e, that represent the symbol of helium. For example, calcium, you see already C is there for the symbol of carbon. Now calcium, C-A-L-C-I-U-M, calcium. So calcium, how you can represent? Capital C, small a. Chlorine, it also starts with the letter C. Then how can you express that chlorine? C, capital C, small l. Neon, an inert gas. Oh, it also starts with the letter N, but the spelling of neon is N-E-O-N. So how you can represent the symbol of neon? Capital N, small e. Say boron, it is represented by the symbol letter B. Now think about the liquid non-metal bromine. It also starts with the letter B. B-R-O-M-I-N-E. So bromine is represented capital B, small r. Barium. Barium. Barium, B-E. Barium is B-A. B-A-R-I-U-M. Beryllium, B-E. Okay. Now these are the way. Now some of the elements, these are actually represented in a different way. How? by their Greek pronunciation. For example, sodium metal. The Greek name of the sodium is natrium. So the sodium metal is represented in A. Okay. Next, gold. Gold, the Latin name is aurum. So it is represented by the letter AU. Copper, cuprum. Copper যাকে বাংলায় আমরা তামা বলি, copper. So cuprum. So cuprum, Cu. Okay. Mercury, hydrogenium, Hg. So sodium, gold, iron, ferrum, Fe. The Latin name of iron is ferrum. So Latin name is iron is ferrum, so it is represented by the letter capital F, small e. So you have to learn all the symbols. Another thing is that that particular symbol represents a single element. For example, if you write H, it means one atom of hydrogen. But if you write 2H, it represents two atoms of hydrogen. If you write 3Na, Na is the symbol of sodium, so it represents 3 atoms of sodium. Okay, so this is all about the discussion related with the symbol. Now we are going to discuss about the characteristics of the compound. So this is the last part for today's discussion, the characteristics of a compound. Characteristics of the compound, first of all, you know that I have already discussed that compound is a kind of pure substance which is formed by the combination of two or more elements in a fixed ratio by their mass. Now molecule is the smallest unit of a compound. Now compound, it has a particular property which is completely different from its constituent element. For example, you know the water. So water, the elements are present hydrogen and oxygen. You know that hydrogen is a gas, oxygen is also gas, but water is a liquid. The properties of hydrogen, properties of water is completely different from the properties of hydrogen as well as oxygen. So, and you cannot break the compound to get the element in an easy method. You have to do some chemical method. Unless and until you are doing some chemical method, you cannot separate the constituent of the compound. Okay. Another important thing is that the properties of, I have already discussed the properties of compounds are completely different from its constituent element. Whenever the compound is formed, either energy is evolved or energy is absorbed. I am giving you one example. When carbon and oxygen, they are combining with each other, it forms carbon dioxide gas. Then the energy is liberated. It is known as exothermic reaction. Another is that when nitrogen and oxygen, they combine with each other, they form nitric oxide. But here the energy is absorbed. So in case of the formation of the compound, either the energy is absorbed, that means endothermic in nature, or the energy is evolved, that is exothermic in nature. Next class we will discuss about the formula of some compounds, as well as we will discuss the symbols of some more other elements. Okay, so today up to this much. Thank you.